The tunnel sloped downward, the walls closing in tighter until I had to duck beneath jagged stone. Water dripped from cracks above, echoing with every step. Then suddenly, the claustrophobic passage spilled into a cavernous chamber, and there it was, a rare item chest. It sat alone in the chamber, gilded in faint green runes, faintly glowing, humming with energy. No mobs, no guards, no locks. Just waiting. But nothing here was ever that simple. I whistled once through the mystic flute, sending one of my plain shadow clone samurai forward. His armored steps echoed against the cavern floor. He pressed a gauntlet hand against the chest. No traps triggered. He pushed the lid open. A soft wave of green light rolled out, and the air hummed with power. Rare chest, loot acquired. Thundersteel ingot fuses with Kaiketsu Shobe to amplify lightning effect into chain lightning arcs. Gravity core fragment integrates with Manrakigasari, expanding gravity pulls into a small radius AoE slow. Obsidian resin fuses with existing molten resin upgrade, doubling burn time. Dragonbone lacquer, armor reinforcement, plus 8% durability boost on equipped sets. Stat points of 50. The items pulsed in my hands, syncing with my inventory. The upgrades weren't theoretical, they happened instantly. The Kaiketsu Shobe crackled as blue arcs raced along the chain, no longer just a weapon, a storm-given form. The Manrakigasari tugged at the ground as if reality'd been around it, a heavy swing making nearby stones shift as though pulled by an unseen tide. The Oni mask pulsed hotter against my skin as the obsidian resin bonded, whispering for more fire, more ruin. I flexed my gauntlet hand, the stat points ticking upward again. The deeper I went, the more the game rewarded me, not just with weapons, but with evolution. It wasn't just loot anymore. The game was rewriting itself around me, and I hadn't even reached the end of the tunnel. The cavern air felt heavy, damp with mineral-rich mist. My single shadow clone samurai walked ahead, his armored feet ringing hollow against the stone floor. I kept my own weapons stowed away in my inventory, the Oni mask, the Kaiketsu Shobe, and the Manrakigasari all tucked away. No need to draw more attention than necessary. For now, I let him be my eyes and shield. We crept deeper into the tunnel. A faint torch sputtered ahead, its flame impossibly steady in the stagnant air. The sound of dripping water vanished. Then the screen flickered, and the cutscene slammed into place. The tunnel widened into a long stone hall. In its center stood a massive figure clad in tarnished bronze, holding a Naginata taller than any man. His helmet bore a rusted crest shaped like a crescent moon. His head turned slowly toward us, the metallic groan of his armor echoing like a death knell. My shadow clone samurai hesitated, just a fraction too long. The bronze warrior moved faster than his size should allow. One sweeping arc, the Naginata blurred through the air, and my clone was split clean in two. His body cracked apart like glass under a hammer, code fragments bursting outward in a flash of red light. The cutscene lingered on the broken remains. The camera panned to the bronze warrior, his Naginata dripping with code that fizzled and sizzled against the stone. He raised the weapon, pointed it straight at me, and the cutscene ended. The game control returned. I was alone in the tunnel. No clones, no distractions. The message burned across my HUD in blood-red letters. Boss encounter, the Bronze Sentinel. My fingers twitched toward my inventory. Oni mask? Shobe? Kasari? Or did I try to test him barehanded, gauntlets sparking at the ready? I didn't even hesitate. The Oni mask pulsed faintly at my hip, whispering for violence, but I ignored it this time. Instead, I reached for the mystic flute and let the first few notes echo through the stone corridor. The sound reverberated like thunder, and the air shimmered. Obsidian, crimson, and bamboo appeared one after another, armor gleaming in the torchlight, weapons ready. Then the fourth shadow clone materialized, and I didn't waste time. I opened my inventory and slammed the copper armor onto him, tightening the fit with a flick of thought. The heavy plates locked into place with an audible clang. Into his grip, I placed the Kaiketsu Shobe, the chain unraveling with a hiss as it dragged against the stone floor. The bronze sentinel let out a guttural groan and leveled his Naginata. My clones surged forward. Obsidian struck first, his Nagamaki cutting a brutal diagonal arc. Sparks flew as steel met bronze, the impact pushing the sentinel half a step back. Crimson followed, his blade flashing in quick, vicious strikes, while Bamboo darted to the flank, parrying him from the side. And Copper, he was the one who landed the first true wound. The Kaiketsu Shogue whirled through the air, the weighted end biting into the Sentinel's plated shoulder with a crunch. The chain rattled, and my clone yanked hard, pulling the towering boss just enough off balance for Obsidian's Nagamaki to crash across his thigh. I hung back, Yumi drawn tight, eyes narrowing through the storm of sparks and steel. Reinforced obsidian-tipped arrows flare with molten resin, and each shot hissed through the air like a meteor. They punched through the Sentinel's armor, embedding deep, the resin burning into the gaps. His health bar dipped hard and fast. The fight didn't drag. My clones coordinated better than they ever had. Copper tangled the Sentinel with his chain, tripping his footwork, while Obsidian cleaved mercilessly. Crimson pressed slashes at his torso, and Bamboo struck low with relentless precision. My arrows punctuated every opening, chipping away at what little resistance he managed to muster. The bronze Sentinel faltered, staggered, and then fell to one knee. Obsidian finished it with a crushing downward strike, the Nagamaki tearing through helm and visor in a burst of sparks. The colossal warrior collapsed, dissolving into shards of glowing code that scattered across the floor like burning leaves in the wind. Loot shimmered in his place, cascading across the stone. Loot dropped. Bronze Sentinel defeated. Bronze Sentinel armor, plus 10% defense, resistance to stagger. Bronze Naginata, sweeping AoE potential, slower attack speed but high damage. 110 stat points. Rare crafting materials, bronze alloys, chain fragments. Health potion large. I lowered my Yumi, the bowstring still humming faintly, and watched my clones stand at attention in the flickering torchlight. The fight hadn't lasted long, a few minutes at most, but the way the Bronze Sentinel had gone down made me feel like I'd finally become more than just a survivor in these tunnels. I was commanding an army. The tunnel twisted downward, the air damp and cold, my clone's armor clinking softly in the silence. I pushed on, Yumi slung across my back, hand resting on the hilt of my katana as torchlight shimmered against the stone walls. Every step felt like it was dragging me deeper into a hidden layer of the game's design, one the devs probably never intended me to reach so quickly. At the very end, the corridor opened into a wide cavern chamber. And there it was, a colossal loot chest, plated in gold and bound with black iron, sat like a shrine against the far wall. My pulse quickened as I approached, the shadows of my samurai clone stretching tall around me. The chest opened with a groan, light spilling out in cascading waves. Inside, loot acquired. Rare crafting materials, obsidian shards, spirit-etched alloys, phoenix with splinters, reinforced trap cores, capable of fusing elemental upgrades, copper and bronze fragments, rare components for higher tier upgrades. Unlockable title, Daimyo, Tier 2 locked. Note, requires Daimyo, Tier 1 to unlock. I stared at the glowing text for a long moment. Tier 2, waiting here like bait. A reward dangled in front of me, but locked behind another secret. It meant I'd have to go back. A chapter replay. Somewhere, Daimyo Tier 1 was waiting, hidden in a place I hadn't yet uncovered. And then it clicked. Not the Bamboo Daimyo. That fight I had torn apart too many times, explored too thoroughly. No, this smelled of something darker. The Obsidian Daimyo. His fortress, his mechanics, the sheer punishment of that fight. Of course, the game would bury Tier 1 with him. The realization hit like a weight. More hours. More grinding. More risk. I glanced at my HUD clock. 1:43 a.m. The glow of the Oni mask flickered at my hip, whispering for me to stay. My clones waited silently at my side, but reality cut through sharper than any blade. My muscles ached. My eyes burned. I let out a long breath and pulled the flute, dismissing the shadow clone samurai in a shimmer of smoke. The chest sealed itself. Loot already logged. My inventory weight felt heavier than ever. I moved into the pause menu, hit save, and watched the confirmation blink across my HUD. The relief was almost physical. Everything I'd fought for tonight wasn't going anywhere. I placed a hand on the pod's release panel. Tomorrow, I muttered. The game world froze mid-raindrop, and the lid of the pod cracked open. Cold air hit my face, followed by the sharp awareness of how late it was.